How's it going, everybody? Alex Comstock here with WhitetailDNA, and it's been a while since I've brought you a video from the home office. We've been doing a lot of turkey stuff lately from videos last year. Caleb's brought you some turkey tip videos, and it's just been a while since I've done a video in the office, and trying to think of a video topic. We were gonna do a different video this week, and that just didn't happen. And so now I wanna do a quick shed hunting video. I wanna talk about my top shed hunting tips. These tips, I haven't done a shed hunting video in quite some time, so there might be some overlap with some older videos. But what I want to talk about today is my top shed hunting tips, which is crazy. I haven't even really been out shed hunting yet this year. Today is April 6th, and if I look out the window, we still have feet and feet of snow. It's pretty crazy. We've been getting just crushed this winter. We've gotten over 130 inches of snow, which is just stupid, but here we are. We've got a warm up in the forecast next week, and I'm gonna start doing some turkey hunting as well as trying to get out and find some antlers. Team members Garrett and Luke just went down to Iowa. They were able to pick up a few antlers, and I was pretty jealous I wasn't able to get down there, but they were able to find some sheds, and it just got me thinking. And so in today's video, we're gonna talk about some of my top shed hunting tips. And the first tip that I wanna get into is to be walking intentionally. A lot of people, when they go shed hunting, they just kind of are stumbling through the woods, stumbling, bumbling, looking for sign, looking at rubs, looking at tree stands. And then they'll have their eyes on the ground a little bit looking for sheds. If you want to be a really good shed hunter, you got to be walking intentionally, looking for antlers, and that's it. I mean, the days that I found the most antlers are the days that I'm not scouting, I'm not checking a piece out, I am shed hunting. So you don't want to have your priorities straight when you're shed hunting. And if finding sheds isn't your main objective when you're out in the woods, and maybe you come across a few, that's fine. But if your objective is to find antlers, then you want to be walking intentionally. Second tip that I want to cover, that's one of my definite top shed hunting tips that I feel not many people do, is to pre-scout. So what do I mean by pre-scout? Pretty much for me, as soon as the season's over, into January, I am scouting where deer are. Because when I'm going walking, especially for someone like me, right, I'm not shed hunting right until mid-April when it's we got weather like this. I need to know where the deer were spending time in January, February, March. Because if you're walking, no matter where you are in the Midwest or in the country, wherever you're walking, you need to be walking where deer were spending their time when they're shedding their antlers. So for me, that can consist of going for drives around. It can consist for going for walks. If you live up where near me, maybe you're going snowshoeing. But anything to figure out where those deer are, it could be running trail cameras. But if you are gonna be going shed hunting in any time, even if you're walking in January, February, you need to know where those deer are now, opposed to just walking a spot you hunted in October and it was on fire. Pretty much if you're not where the deer are in January, February, March, when they're losing 95% of their antlers, you're not gonna be in the right spot to find sheds. My third tip is gonna be to walk until the boots come off. The biggest issue with people not finding the amount of antlers they want to is they just don't walk enough. I've got friends that find literally hundreds of antlers a day. Not a day, that'd be crazy. I've got friends that find literally hundreds of antlers a year, and what's the biggest, what do you think the biggest trait is among them all? They all walk a pile. I mean, I've had years that I found quite a few sheds, but I've had years where I find a shed every 10 miles. So in order to do that, you need to be walking a ton. If you want to really stack them up, everyone says miles for piles. And on that, the next tip I want to talk about is walking slow. Now, they kind of contradict themselves in a little bit of a way, but I found the faster that I walk, the less antlers that I find. Pretty much, I miss them. And everyone could be a little bit different, but my biggest recommendation is when you're out there walking is to walk slow, keep those eyes constantly scanning and take your time. Yeah, you want to put on those miles, but what I always say is the slow miles equal the biggest piles. And even though I haven't been able to walk much yet, and I would say if you're able to just walk slowly, walk a lot, it's gonna help your chances at finding more sheds. Next tip is one of my top tips, is to shed hunt with a buddy. Shed hunting with a buddy, I've found to be really helpful in the fact that you can cover, say you get into a spot that's really good, you can cover it much more efficiently. You can share tracks, you know, so like if me and Luke are out shed hunting, you know, we might kind of split up and we might not be walking right by each other the whole time, and we'll each track it on onX. And then when we meet up, we can, you know, compare our tracks on onX, where we hit, and then we can go and kind of go from there and hit the spots that we missed. So that's another tip that I thought I'd share. Another one that I want to share with my top tips is definitely to use optics. This gets hit on a lot now, which is good, but I'm going to just drill it down again. I've always got my Vortex binoculars on me. You want to be using those optics because it can help you in a variety of reasons. If you're walking, you think you see something, you don't know if it's a shed or not, opposed to maybe walking 60, 70 yards over there to check it out and coming back, or getting all messed up. I just binos, check it out. Maybe it's an antler, maybe it's not, but either way, it saves me a lot of time. And it's also helped me find antlers in the fact that there might be a situation where I'm out walking and I typically wouldn't go to a certain spot, but I see something, I'm like, oh, what the heck, I'll throw up my binos, it will be a shed, and then I'll actually maybe kind of change the way I'm going and stuff like that. So that's another tip that I wanted to share with you. Another one of my top tips is, so when you're out shed hunting, so like here I got an antler, people are always just looking for this. That nice 5-point side sitting up, man, what a beauty. Now, yeah, it's easy. That was really corny, I know. Yeah, it's easy to spot this. If this is laying on the ground just like this, boom, done. But what you need to look for and train your eyes to do is to find the curves, right? Maybe this is laying and only this is, maybe only that's visible to the eye. You need to train your eye to notice a tip of a tine. Maybe all you're seeing is 2 tines, like the top of a 2 or top of a 3. You know, like really good examples, even like this year, Luke found one. I think I've got a little vertical video I'll put in here. Luke found a shed and he was out walking last month and all he saw was just, I mean, literally all he saw on that antler was like this much of the antler, and he saw it, he pulled it out, and it was just his biggest shed ever. So by training your eyes to know what to look for, I find that really important. There's times when you're only gonna spot just a little piece of an antler, but if you can train your eyes to understand what to be looking for, instead of just a big 5-point side laying up, it's gonna really help your chances of finding more antlers. Now the last tip that I wanna get into, this is a pretty quick video, and you know, I've kind of covered all my top shed hunting tips that's helped me find more antlers. But this last one I wanna get into is just don't be afraid of boot tracks, don't be afraid of walking a spot more than once. You know, especially if you've got a shed hunt through, like, in most years, I'm out shed hunting all winter because you're kind of looking for them as they fall. But this year we've gotten so much snow and so many storms, and it's just been a lot harder to get out there. But like a good example is this set that I found a couple years ago off a buck that I called Snicker, which this is one of my coolest sets of shed I've ever found. This spot I probably walked 2 or 3 times, and then finally got into this spot that I'd been walking, kind of went around this little bend and got into this back part of this timber that I hadn't really stepped foot in before, even though I had shed hunted that property many times. And boom, this buck stands up, which I knew was his buck because he was limping real bad. And he stood up out of his bed, and I was like, all right, if he's bedding there, these sheds have got to be close. And within 20 minutes, I had found this set. So the moral of that story is to not be afraid if you see boot tracks, or if you walked an area a couple times, feel free to keep hitting it, especially if it's good. So those are a few of my top shed hunting tips. Like I said, pretty quick video, but just want to get something out there for you guys this week. Upcoming here next Wednesday is turkey opener. Aaron Olson from Next Step Outdoors is going to be flying up, and we're going to be doing some hunting together. So be sure to keep your eyes on the channel for that. But I think I'm going to be bringing that probably right away as soon as that hunt's done. Next week, I'm not sure what we'll bring, but we'll have some type of video up. And that's that. So appreciate you watching. Like I said, you may be watching this here or seeing this come across, and you might be done shed hunting for the year, but put it in those favorites, save it for next year. If you're coming across this in 2024 or beyond, and you're getting ready to shed hunt, put these tips to use. They're gonna help you find more antlers. So do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe below. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you here on the next video.